Hey everyone, good morning and good evening. So let's start with today's session. Let me quickly share my screen and let's do a quick recap. Okay, so till now we were talking about what exactly is Git. We went through some few Git commands. Last time we saw what exactly is Git merge, how do we create Git branch and all. So anyone has any questions with whatever we did till now?
Yes, when we are moving the branch and anything, at that time we are getting the head and then arrow and then master. In this
Correct.
master is showing the branch. So what is the meaning of the head in that?
Okay, so head is where the pointer is currently. So wherever you see the head, very good question. Let me go back. Let me open a Git local repository again. So this is a Git local repository, correct? Let me go and show you with the practical. Okay. So I'm in the release branch right now, and if I go and quickly see a log, so this head and this is the pointer. So where exactly this is? The head is right now over here. What does this mean? That this is the latest commit overall. In your release branch, this is the latest commit, and if you see over here in the master feature develop, this is the latest commit in that branch. So there's a difference of one commit. So that is what the head is showing. Now, if you go back, switch to some other branch, for example, let git switch to feature branch. Okay. Now see the head. See the head. Do you see where exactly the head is right now? I'm into feature. The feature head is showing in the feature branch. The head is showing that this is the latest commit in feature branch and all other branch. It is not showing the release branch over here. So head is the latest commit in the respective branch, and this is the pointer. What exactly? By seeing the head and the pointer, you can know, okay, this is the latest commit in this branch. Okay. So basically, this is how Git recognize which one is the. As soon as you start doing other commits, the pointer will start moving upwards and downwards. Like if I make a new commit, this head will move upwards. Okay. And if there are some other changes, some in other branch, the pointer will come downwards. So this is how, using this head, you are able to recognize where exactly the commit is right now. Okay,
Yeah, so
make sense?
just for clarification, from what you did now in the feature branch, it means there's no difference between um yeah, so it means there's no difference between feature, master, and developer, right? So like they're all up to date.
Correct. So yeah, if you see the head is pointing right now at to these three branches. That is feature, master, develop. That means they are all at the same level right now.
Okay.
Okay, they are
All right.
currently at. So basically, this head is nothing but it's just a reference, guys. So it's a reference pointer through which you recognize where exactly your commits are. Okay, so just to answer your question again, head is nothing but it's just a pointer or label to the most recent commit of the branch. Okay, that's it, nothing much, where you are currently. Okay, anyone else, any other questions, guys? We had multiple other things done, like branches and things like that. No questions, so let's move on to the next part. So where did we end? I think we ended with the git merge command. Yeah, git merge command, wherein we merged the source and the destination branch. Now, where did we merge? Let me go and do a. So, okay. So, are we good with git merge and everything, guys? Okay. I believe this was the last merge what we did. Okay. Perfect. Now, imagine you made some changes in your branch. Now that changes needs to be removed back. How do you do it? Okay. Like for example, let me do a quick commit. Let me do a commit. What's happening with my keyboard today? Yeah, this looks good. Okay, let's name it as new commit itself and redirect it to the new commit.txt. Okay, this is a new commit. Let's quickly do a add and let's do a quick commit. Let's name it as new commit itself. Okay, perfect. Now if I do a git status, my working directory will be clean. And if I do a good log, this is a new commit, and if you see the head again moved up. Okay, now this is the commit which you did in your master branch. Now imagine there is a scenario that whatever commit you did, you need to revert that commit. Okay, so you might have done by mistakenly and you got a code review from your peers that this is not the right way of doing things, and now things needs to be removed from Git repository. Now, as I said earlier, just deleting the file will not help you. If you go and manually go and delete this new commit file, this will not help you. So how do you take out things completely from your Git repository? So for doing that, there is an option called Git reset. Okay. Now, when you do a reset, you can use a commit ID. You can simply have this commit ID and do a reset. Get this first 7-8 digit and you're good. You can simply do a git reset followed by the commit ID. Or else, as we are talking about head, you can also use head with one single caret sign. The caret sign is there on the number on your keyboard. If you see at the top the numbering, so above 6 there is a caret sign, so you can just do a shift 6, you get this caret sign. One caret sign means git reset head. One caret sign means one commit will be removed. If I do one caret, then this will be removed. If suppose you want to remove this, but for example you want to remove this one, then you need to use two caret sign. Suppose you want to remove this one, you need to use three caret sign. Okay, similarly if you want to remove this one, you need to use four caret sign. This is other way of resetting. Okay, now I just want to remove the latest one. If you just want to remove the latest one caret is more than enough. So git reset head caret. You can also use commit ID, guys. It's up to you what you want to use. And I'll just have this caret sign. Now so this is the file, correct? New commit. This is the file. Just have a look on the file if the file is getting removed. Done. If I go and see the log, I don't see that new commit thing. But did you guys notice something? The file is still there. The file is still there inside my folder. The file is not removed, but the history is removed. Understood the difference? The file is not removed, so but the history is removed. This is kind of soft delete option what we have. So reset is of two types, guys. When you do a reset, there are two types. One is hard reset, one is soft reset. Hard reset, when you do a hard reset, it deletes everything. It deletes everything along with file. And when you do a soft reset, it deletes only the history. history, not files. Okay. So by default, when you run this command, by default, the soft delete happens. So still giving you an opportunity that, yeah, if you might have deleted or reset it by mistakenly, then you can revert back your changes. But still, if you go and look into this, run the get status command, you see there is a file called new commit in untracked right now. So if you go and just simply do a git add, git commit, new commit, your file history is back, and you have the file already, and things are back to the normal state. So soft reset is giving you an opportunity that even though if you have done deletion by mistakenly, if you want to get back to the file and get the history again added, you can do it. Hard reset will not give that opportunity to you. Now if you want to do a hard reset, then you can do a use a flag hyphen hard. Now when you use this flag, there's no going back, guys. Let me show you. Again, I'm doing the reset for the same file. Do you see from the back end the file is gone? The new commit file. And if you go and see the log is gone. If you go and see the status command, status, the working directory is clean. So hard reset, use it very wisely. In hard reset, the file will be deleted along with the history. But if you're doing a soft, so by default it's soft, but if you want to specify soft reset, then you can also do this way. You can do a specification by this way. Okay, so this is what a reset is all about. Are we good? Anyone has any confusion what exactly it is? Reset?
Yeah, question. So if there is no flag, it's gonna default to soft reset, correct?
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay.
If there's no flag specified, it is by default, it will go to soft, not hard. Hard is something you need to specify. Do you use a reset to forget your changes to a file? Forgot your changes. The reset is basically is to, if you made some changes by mistakenly and if you want to take out things from the index file of git. Okay, so index means you need to take out the history. So at that time we'll do a reset. Okay, hard and soft, this is up to you what you want to select based on your requirement. If you suppose there's a bug you have created because of your commit, okay, and you want to take it completely out so that it doesn't go to the other environments like other lower environment or upper environment, so in that case you'll take out the history as well as the file. You will not do the soft reset, but it's a minor changes which you're doing. You just need to take out the history, then you might end up doing soft reset. Okay, so it depends upon what scenario you are in, what exactly you are doing. Based on that you'll decide. And just to answer your question, reset is basically is to remove things from your git repository. Okay, okay, let's move on further. Yeah,
Yeah,
tell me.
Puri. If you use, I mean, three carets after the head, so all three files will get deleted, or only third file will get deleted?
No, the third file will be deleted. The third
Only
commit will
third
be
file.
not the third commit will be deleted.
Okay.
Okay,
Okay.
now let me introduce you to one more scenario. For that, let me do a setup. Let
Can you
me,
hear me?
yes, I can. Tell me.
Yes, I wanted to clarify something. So I know like we can use the ID.
Mm-hmm.
And so if I say git reset the ID without using the flag, would that still delete?
Okay.
So I say I just want to use just a flag. I just say git reset, then I put the ID, the
Mm-hmm.
entire ID or the first 8 characters without using
Okay.
a flag. Would that still delete?
Okay. Okay. So if you're using the ID without a flag, by default, it will do a soft reset, and whatever ID you have selected, that particular history will be removed, depending upon your ID.
Okay, thank you.
No problem. So guys, I'm just creating couple of commits right now. This is for my next scenario. Okay, now if I go and look into my develop branch log, I got 2 commits, file 2, file 1. These are 2 commits which I have done. Now I want to push everything inside my master branch right now. My master branch is 2 commits behind. If you see, the master branch is 2 commits behind right now. Now these are the 2 files which is not there in my master branch. Now I want to put these files into my master, so we all know we'll do git merge and then everything will go inside my master, but that is not my requirement. My requirement is different now. I don't want to pull both the files. I don't want to push both the files in my master. The only thing I want to do is in this file 1 and file 2, I just want this file 1 to be part of my master. Understand the scenario. I got couple of commits. In that couple of commits, only specific commit I want to push inside my master branch. So if I go with the traditional way of git merge, what will happen? Both the commits will get pushed to my master. So that git merge will not work over here if I go with the traditional way. So what is the best approach we can follow over here, in which I just want to have specific commit to be pushed into my master? So there is a concept called cherry pick. Again, a very important interview question. So cherry pick is a concept using which you can pick specific commit. So cherry pick, the word came from the same, like imagine there is a box of cherry, okay, and out of 100 cherries inside it, you need to consume the best cherries. So what you will do, you will pick those cherries manually by yourself. You just pick one cherry, you consume it. That is how you will do a cherry picking. Same goes over here. There are, in your develop branch, there will be 100 of commits. So that 100 commit that not necessarily will go and get deployed to production. In develop branch, we do so many development activities. Everything will not go inside production, correct? So how do I specify which commit I want to pick, and only that change needs to be deployed in production? So there is a method called cherry pick. Just imagine these are my 2 changes, file 1 and file 2, and I don't want to put file 2, I just want to put file 1. So cherry picking is the way you can do it. How does this cherry pick works? So we just have to copy this commit ID. Same like git merge, guys. Our source branch and destination branch. The only difference is you have to do a git merge. You have to go inside the destination branch first, then put the commit ID. Sorry, not git merge. This is git cherry pick followed by the commit ID. And you need to be inside the destination branch first. So what is my destination? I have already copied my, let me copy entirely. Okay, I have already copied things. My destination branch is master, so I'll go back to master. So if I am there in the master, now I'll do a cherry pick. F1 cherry pick followed by the ID. You don't need to have this complete digit, guys. First 7 digit is more than enough, okay? But it's okay. Now if you see this, do you see there's a file 1 now in my master, followed by, if you go and see the log, do you see we got the file 1? Not the file 2. The file 2, if I switch back to my develop, you'll see the file 2 also there. See this, you got file 1, file 2. So this is what cherry picking concept, and this is you will be using widely when you go and start working on reality. This is the concept you'll be using 101%, because there will be the example which I gave you, there will be a develop branch wherein all the development activity will happen, and you will have a release cycle like bi-weekly release, monthly release, quarterly release, and based on the release cycle, whatever user stories are getting deployed, you will be cherry picking those user stories. Okay, so cherry picking is a concept which you will definitely use when you start working on a project. Okay, as the name suggests, if you want to have a specific cherry, just imagine the box of cherry. If you want to consume specific cherry, you do cherry picking. Same goes if there's any specific requirement that you need to pick up this commit ID and need to push it to other branch, then cherry picking is a concept which comes in picture. Okay, are we good with cherry picking concept?
So question.
Mm-hmm.
In production, right? Let's say someone created a pull request, and you want to review what the person wants to merge and whatnot. So can you also use cherry pick at that time, or you cannot?
Yes, you can definitely use it, but the cherry picking will be in different way. So when you talk about pull request and everything, then remote repositories comes in picture, such as GitHub, GitLab, Azure repos. So we can do a cherry pick and create a pull request and get the code reviewed, and then eventually get deployed. We can do that. This is something I'll cover when we have Azure repos along with my local Git repository. At that time, I'll show you how do we create a cherry pick and how do we get the code reviewed and how exactly a PR is created. Yeah,
Right.
we'll do
Thank you.
this when we have Azure repos along with my local Git repository. Okay, so let's move on to the next topic inside Git, a very important topic, stashing. So stashing is basically placing your uncommit changes in a different location. What does that mean? Now let me give you a scenario. Think of a scenario that you're working on something. For example, let me work on something. Hello world. Let's name it as new file.txt, something you're working on. Okay, you have added this file. Now this file, if you go and check the status, it is not yet committed. It is not yet committed. It's still in staging area. Okay, it's not yet committed. Now your manager comes in and tells you that whatever you're doing, just drop it and go back. There is an emergency change which needs your attention as soon as possible. Now imagine a developer scenario when a developer is doing a development. He was creating a feature, he has not yet committed anything, and the feature is still lying in uncommitted. And this is his last 5 hours, 6 hours efforts, which he's not committed yet. Now suddenly there's an emergency change. He cannot drop. Like if he goes and drop everything right now, everything is gone. Why exactly this question has arise to drop and start working on emergency change? Because of this work directory, guys. I'm inside a work directory right now. My work directory is not clean. I have some changes inside the work directory, and with these changes, if we start working on something new, everything will get merged together. Okay, which we don't want. There are, okay, Now I want my work directory to be cleaner so that I can take up the emergency change, work on it, get it fixed. Once it is done, I can go back to my development work. How do I do it? Okay, in such case, there is an option of stash. Stash is basically what it does. It will remove this, it will clean your work directory and it will remove this uncommit changes. It will not delete. It will keep this uncommit changes into a separate location so that it doesn't come as a hindrance while you do the emergency change. And when you're free, you can go back to this uncommit changes of yours. Okay, so that is what stash does. Again, interview question, git stash. If you just do a git stash, let's see what happens. Now if you see saved working directory and indexed state work in progress on develop, and this is the commit ID, temporary commit ID, which has been given. Now if you go and look into git status, you have a cleaner directory now. You have a cleaner working directory. You can do your work. And suppose you're done with your work, and you can, once you're done with your work, you can go back to your stash. How do you know where exactly my file is? So git stash list. This is where your file is right now. File. Okay. How do I take the, how do I get this file back to my uncommit changes? So I can just need to copy this, do a git stash followed by the uncommit changes. Then there's an option called pop. When you do a pop, do you see you're back with this new file .txt? Okay. So this is how you can use stashing. One important thing in stash, let me do a stash again. Let me show you the stash. If you do a git stash drop, if you use drop followed by the stash name, then everything gets deleted. The new file and your uncommit changes, everything gets deleted. So you will have not even the file to recover. See, this is all gone if you do a drop. So keep this in mind. If you do a drop, this is what happens. Okay, I think there are questions in the chat. Okay, question is, can we just create a new directory to address the impromptu change instead of stashing? Okay, now when there is an uncommit changes, you cannot do a switch also. Okay, when there are uncommit changes in your current branch, and if you try to do a switch, it will not let you switch, it will not let you pull, it will ask you to, there are uncommit changes, it will ask you to do, go ahead and do a commit. Okay, so you're creating a new branch, you only have an option of dropping everything, then create a new branch, switch, then you can do a switch. Okay, what is other? Is there a scenario where you may have multiple stashes? How may you know which wood is the correct one? Yeah, you get a description, Victoria. When you do a stash, you can give your own stash name. You can give your own stash name. You get your description. You get your file name. Now, if you see, this is the file name. It's a commit ID, and what exactly you have. You have your stash name, and if you want to give a naming, you can give your own naming also. So you will know by seeing just the stash file, you will know what exactly the stash is. Okay. Want to know more about stash? There's a help manual which you can take. So when you do a git stash help, this is what pops up, and you can go through it. There are n number of things: git stash list, git stash show, git stash restore, n number of git stash command which you can go through as well. Okay. Now this manual, from where exactly I'm getting this manual? This is when you install Git. Along with Git, this manual also gets installed, guys. So it's not that, even though if you don't have internet, you can still use this command. Okay, anyone else? Any other questions, guys? Okay, no questions. Let's go back and let me show you tagging. So we did stashing. Now let's do tagging. Now let me switch back to my master. Let me show you the log. Okay, imagine that you have done your production deployment and your production deployment looks good. Your application, the new feature was deployed successfully. And imagine this is the new feature commit. Okay, now it's always a good practice to tag things. What do I mean by tagging? Tagging is nothing but it will give you a checkpoint kind of, wherein by seeing the tag in future you come to know, okay, this is the place where we have deployed the feature, this was the place where we did a bug fix, this was the place where the major release has happened, this was the place where the minor release has happened. This is all you will come to know if you tag your commits. Now this is the new feature. Imagine this is the new feature you have deployed and you don't know, like suppose down the line after 3 months if you see the commit, will you come to know that what exactly this was? No. So how we can do it? We can do a git tag followed by a tag name. Okay, your tag name could be anything. Let me give you a tag name as major version 1.0, something like 1.0. Now what exactly this will do? It will automatically go and tag the latest commit. This command will automatically go and tag the latest commit. It will look for the head and it will go and tag the latest commit which is there in the master branch. Let's see it. Do you see there's a tag major 1.0? This is what tagging is. Tagging is like it gives you a checkpoint for future that this is what has happened at this point of time. Okay, so you might have seen alpha release, beta release, version 1.1, bug fix, version 1.2, ECR change, and things like that. All this gets tagged once the final commit is created, and when the things are deployed in production, tested, and you get a go ahead from everywhere that things are looking good. At that time, a tag gets created. You need to create a tag. So this is what tagging means. Okay. Okay. Now, there are multiple other commands. Now we are talking from the remote repository perspective. As if now, if we all know this is just my local repository, correct? I don't have a remote repository. Okay, how do I check it if I have it or not? If I run the command git remote, there is nothing. If I use verbose, there is nothing. It's completely blank. So this is just my local repository. Now think of a scenario. Imagine that till now you were working locally and this was your local repository. This is the local file what you had. Now you have a team, okay, who are ready to contribute to your project. You were working locally till now. Now you got a team who are ready to contribute to your project. How do you share your local repository with them? You have your local repository, correct? You have your files in your local repository. So files, nothing but you have your source code in your local repository. How do you share it with them? Now many of you will say that I'll attach it to an email, I'll put it on a file share. These are all traditional. Okay, if you're attaching, how do you keep a track what the other person has done? And if the other person has developed something and he wants to share it with you, again he will attach. No, that is not acceptable. What is the best way of doing things? The best way of doing things is creating a remote repository for yourself first. Once you create a remote repository, then you can go ahead and put all your local code to that remote repository. Then you can easily share things. Okay. Yeah. Push will not work. Again, we don't have a remote repository yet. We need to go and create a remote repository first. Get the remote repository added to your local repository. Then only your pull and push things will work. Okay. Same over here, Victoria. We need to have a remote repository. So in my case, I don't have a remote repository. So what we need to do, we need to go back, make use of remote repository. So where do I create a remote repository? So in my scenario, I'll be creating a remote repository on Azure DevOps. We'll be using Azure repos over here. Okay. So I think you guys are signing in for the very first time. Make sure to use the same email ID and the password which you have used for signing in on cloud. Use the same user ID and password for signing in on Azure DevOps also. So in order to sign in, let me show you. You can go to this link dev.azure.com. Go to this link. It will take you to this screen and you can just click on start free. Let me share this. Let me share this link with you guys. Start free. Put in your email ID. The same email ID, guys, which you have used for your cloud account. I'll tell you the reason why I'm telling later. But for now, try and use the same email ID. Okay. So as soon as you sign in, it will take you to this screen. Okay. In my case, you can see this project. In your case, you'll not see this project. It will be completely blank. So this is the account dev.azure.com, followed by this is the organization name. This organization name, it will prompt you to put in your organization name. So you, whatever name you give, that becomes your organization. Okay. And you will have a completely blank screen over here. You will not see any projects. You will just see projects, my work item, my pull request, and over here, create a new project, things will pop up. Nothing else. Okay. So just sign in. It's very easy, very straightforward. It will simply take your email ID and password, and we are good. And you will be signed into Azure DevOps. This is what Azure DevOps looks like. Okay. Once you're signed in, there's one more important thing which I want you guys to do. Fill in a form. This is Azure DevOps parallelism form. So you need to send this request to Microsoft. Okay. So you can give your name. Like suppose my name is Rohit Singh. Your email address, like this was the email address which I have used to sign in. Okay. Second, it will ask for your organization name. So the organization name is nothing but you need to copy this entire thing. Whatever organization name you have given. In my case, this is the organization name, and you need to make it private. No public, guys. Make sure make it private and submit this. Now, what exactly you're doing? You are sending a request to Microsoft. Now, Microsoft will give you free minutes. So in order to run your build and release pipeline, there are free agent minutes which you require. So as I said, in Azure DevOps, there are 1800 minutes which is free, which is not by default enabled. So by filling up this form, Microsoft takes couple of days to enable this free minutes. And why exactly we're doing it right this point of time? The reason is because when we reach to the build and release section, I don't want you guys to wait for Microsoft to give you those free minutes. If you do it now, in future, whenever we run the build and release pipeline, there's no issue. In the couple of days, you'll get this approved also. Okay, so I'll just share this link also. I will not submit this because I already have free minutes. So I'm just sharing with you guys. Make sure sign in to Azure DevOps. Once you're signed in, fill in the form straight away. Don't wait for guys, because this takes sometime, it takes 3 to 4 working days. So don't wait. Once you're signed in, make sure fill in this form. Okay. Now I'll have to create a new project. This is some other project that I have right now. So I'll create a new project. I'll name this project as, this is what screen you will see when you click on new project. I name this project as Velexi DevSecOps _1. Okay. Sake of spelling mistake. Now visibility public and private. So we'll stick with private, no public. Later, if you want to change it to public, even you can play around with the policies. I can show you later. But for now, stick with private. In advance, if you see the version control, by default you'll see a Git is selected, and in the drop down there are other version controls also. Team Foundation version control, which is centralized, which we don't want to use. We'll stick with Git. Work item process, this is something I'll talk about later. For now, we'll stick with basic and click on create. So what exactly happening right now? A new Azure DevOps project is getting created. And if you see, there is a new project got created. Okay. Now I'm not concerned about what this project is, what exactly all these options are. I'm not even teaching that right now. What exactly you need to focus on is this part, repos. When you click on this repos, there is a, if you see at the top, there is a repository got created automatically when you created a project. The repository name is Velexi _DevSecOps _1. This is the repository which got created. And I'm just concerned about this repository. I'm not creating a new repository also, guys. Whatever repository by default created, I'll be just using that, because I'm not teaching Azure DevOps right now. We are just focused on Azure repos for now. Okay. So I'll have this repos. Now, how do I use this? Now, what was the use case? What was the use case I had? That whatever local source code, local repository I had, I want to share it with others. So the best way to share is to create a remote repository and put your local source code to that remote repository. Then you can share it with whoever you want. Now, you can create this repository anywhere, guys. You can create it on GitHub, GitLab, Bitbucket, Azure repos, wherever you want. But in my case, as we are learning Azure DevOps, so I'll be covering Azure repos over here. As I said earlier, there's no difference, guys. Whatever you do in Azure repos, fundamentally the same thing you can do it in GitHub and GitLab also. Only the things will differ will be the GUI. That's a graphical user interface. The graphical things, the options will change, nothing else. Okay, so how do I? So the first thing first, I need to go and add this source. Do you see this link? I need to add this link as my remote. Okay, so I'll copy this link, come back to my local. Now there is a command, okay, to add your remote. It's git remote, okay, add. Then you need to tag your branch. So master branch, correct? Origin, you can define this as origin, and the URL, which we just copied. Now, when you run this command for the very first time, it will pop up a user ID and a password window for you guys. In my case, it will not pop up because my user ID and password is already there in my local Windows machine. But when you guys do it, then it will pop up a user ID and password. So you need to put in the same user ID password which you have used for signing in over here. Okay. So use the same user ID password, enter. Now if I go and look into the git remote command, you will see the origin set. There's something called fetch, there's something called push. Now, what exactly this fetch push is? So let's understand very important concept before we move on. Git clone, git fetch, git pull, git push, and there's one more command, git push clone. This is something I'll show you later. Let's understand the pull and push first. As the name suggests, pulling the changes. Now imagine there are multiple developers in your remote repository and constantly they are making changes. When you clone your repository for the very first time, cloning means it's taking a complete mirror copy on your local system. It's like taking a backup from your remote repository from your cloud to your local system. That is what cloning. And when you do a clone, it's like a mirror copy. When I say mirror copy, along with your source code, the history is also cloned. That's why we say complete backup. So when you do a clone, the complete mirror copy of your remote repository gets cloned on your local system. This is always a one-time activity, guys. This command is always a one-time activity. Now, why do I say one-time activity? Because when there are incremental change, like suppose you have cloned your copy today, you did your work, you pushed your changes, and you are off for the day. When you come back next day, there is a great chance there are other developers in your team who has already made new changes and they have already pushed their changes to the remote repository. Now, how do you get the updated copy? One way, do a clone again, or you can simply do a git pull. Pull is basically will get you the incremental change, like whatever change is missing from your local copy from the remote copy, it will get you those changes. Basically, it will sync your local copy with your remote copy. So sync is the wrong word over here, but it will basically get you the incremental change which is there in the remote but not there on your local, and it will get you the updated copy on your local. Cloning is not always suggested, guys. Why? Because cloning is a big effort. Let me tell you, if your repository is quite big, like if it's a 3 GB 4 GB repository, just imagine the cloning, how much time it will take. Minimum 15 minutes, 15 to 20 minutes. That's a waste of time, correct? So you just do a clone once, and oppose that you start pulling changes. Pulling will get you the incremental change only. Okay. On the other hand, what is push? Push is basically if you have made some changes locally, you did a local commit. For imagine there are multiple local commits which you did, and you're ready to push your changes to your remote repository so that even others can see your change. At that time, you can push your changes from your local repository to the remote repository. If you want to basically merge your changes from your local remote repository with the local repository to the remote repository, at that time you'll do a push. So by doing a push, your changes from your local repository will get merged with the remote repository, and post that if there are other developers, they can do a pull and they will come to know that what changes you did. That is what push is all about. Now, what is this fetch thing is? Now, what pull was doing, it was pulling everything and it was committing locally. Correct? It was not giving you an opportunity to select anything. It will simply pull everything and it will update your local copy. Now imagine you're working on some very important feature and you don't want files from other developers because it may hamper your current development work. So you want to have an opportunity to select things by yourself. So you can do a git fetch. What fetch does, the fetch will get you all the latest commit, but it will not update your local git repository. It will give you an option. These are 10 list of commits, which is not there on your local. If you want everything, then you just simply do a pull, or if you want out of 10 you just want to select 2, then you get an option to select those 2 commits also with this fetch. So fetch gives you an opportunity to select which commit you want. Do you want everything or do you just want specific commits? So that is what fetch does. Okay, this tag I'll talk about this later. So this is 4 important commands: git clone, fetch, pull, push. Now this is one of the command I'll be using. In my case, I want to update everything which is there in my local to my remote repository. So I can simply do a git push, because whatever is there on my local, I want to push it to my remote repository. I can do a simple git push. Now I'm getting an error stating there's no upstream. If you see the error, the current branch master has no upstream branch. Now what does this means? If you see, we got a branch called master from where we have all your changes. And do you have any master branch in your remote? If you go into master, there's nothing right now, correct? In your remote, do you have a master branch? So the answer is no. If you don't have a master branch, where exactly will you push your changes to? So that is what it is asking you to set a upstream branch. So this is the command. Copy this exact command and run this command once. This is only once you will run it, guys. Once you run this command, what will happen? A master branch will get created over here, and post that you can just start pushing. Just git push will work in that case. Done. Done. A new branch was created. Refresh this. Do you see all your files? I'm inside file section. Do you see there is a master branch at the top, and you can see all your files. This is what push will do. All your local changes got uploaded to remote repository. Now this particular branch, this file git test, this is no longer a local repository now, guys. This is linked with your remote repository. So whatever you change, you can push your changes to your remote repository by hitting just one single command. So you don't need to do, you just git push is more than enough. If this is more than enough, now onwards you just do a git push and your things will get pushed. You can do a git pull, and if there's any incremental change, those incremental change will be part of your local repository. See, everything is up to date, already up to date. There's nothing you can pull. Now there's one command called, remember we had a tag. I had a tag over here, correct? Now if you see, there's one more origin master. So now the head is also pointing to origin master. Your origin master has the same set of commits. Like if you go to commits section, file 1 is the latest commit over here. Now if you see, this is the file 1. So even your origin master is on the same commit right now. This is the latest commit for your origin master. Okay, remember we had this tag. Now if I go to tag section, I don't see that tag over here. Now if you want to push tag, so git push will not work. You need to be very specific that you want to push tag also this way. So basically you'll have to tell there's a new tag which you want to push. Now if you go back to commits, do you see this tag over here? So that was the 4th command, git push tag, 5th command. Now, if you go to tag section, you can see a tag also. That's it from there are a lot of things for you guys to do, guys. So I'll stop over here because tomorrow I will focus on Azure Repos. There are multiple things what we'll do on Azure Repos. Now, enough of command line. Now we'll go to some advanced topics and we'll see what is PR, what is squash, what is fast forward, what is semi fast forward. So there are multiple other things what we'll go through now. So I'll stop over here, and tomorrow we'll spend complete. I think I need couple of days, not just one day, couple of days to understand Azure Repos in great details. Once you understand Azure Repos, then we'll do branching and merging strategy. One session on branching and merging strategy. Okay, so that's it for me today. We'll hold it over here and we'll see if there's any questions. Okay, so there's a question from Akin. If we initialize a repo, it will create a main branch for us. So my ask is, can we just set the upstream to main? Yes, why not? You can do it. Now, if you do a initialization, so by default on Azure Repos, it will be creating a main branch. Okay. Now you have a local branch master. So there will be, you can, so just to answer your question, if you want to set upstream to main, you can do it, but there could be a confusion later going forward. You can just set upstream to main, push your changes and delete your local repository in that case. Then create a clone copy and start everything from scratch. Then there's no issue. But if you have master on your local, main on your remote, then there is a great confusion which you are leading to. And you should not do development on with such confusion. You can initialize with main, that's totally fine. But when you're doing a setting in upstream, make sure the local branch and your remote branch is same. So if your local branch is master, create a set upstream as master and create one more branch as master in your remote repository. And make sure you're pushing everything to your remote repository, because there are indexing and everything happens in the backend and they are all pointing to the master branch. And if you suddenly change things to main, you may end up corrupting your branch also. So it's better to use the same branch logic. Okay. Can we show you how to change the branch from master to main? We'll cover the branching part, Victoria. So tomorrow we'll have branches created with your remote repository. I'll show you how do we create branches, and then we'll work on Azure Repos. Tomorrow we'll focus more on Azure Repos. We'll see. So whatever we did till now on your local, creating branches, doing a cherry pick, doing a reset, doing a merge, everything we'll do again. Now the only difference will be we'll do it on Azure Repos. Okay. Yeah, that's it. Anyone else? Any questions, guys? All these, whatever I did today, it's all there in my notes, which I have shared earlier in the WhatsApp group. Everything is there in the notes. Plus, if you go and look into the assignments, you'll find assignments based on this scenarios. So make sure to go and complete those assignments. So that's it for me. If anyone has any questions, please do let me know, or else we can wind up the call for today. Anyone? Any questions, guys?
Rohit, I have a general question, not about Git and Azure Repos. So when you start the main course content, right, Azure DevOps and all that, you will be using the previously created resources from Azure portal, or you will be doing it from scratch when you are doing probably next other than repos, right, other concepts.
Sorry, I think, could you please repeat yourself? Like,
yeah, when we
one
go
more.
to the main DevOps, right, for example, pipeline and all that, you'll be
Uh-huh.
creating new Azure resources from portal, or you'll be using the previous ones that you did, like basic
No, the
VNet
previous
and
one
all.
is all. No, that is all deleted. It will be all. We'll create everything from scratch.
Okay,
So the
that
previous.
videos you shared for our understanding, right? If you go through the videos, we have a better idea of how you're creating like new
Correct.
resources.
So initially I've
Okay.
started with cloud because eventually when we start building pipelines and releasing things, it will be deployed on cloud itself. So if you have idea beforehand, it will be very easy for you guys to understand, because later I'll not be creating things manually.
Okay, what I'm saying is, if you watch those videos and get to know those things, it will be easy to understand when you create Fastly
Yes.
in the future. Okay.
Yeah, so it's better to go with the cloud topics. It's there on the recordings, because later we'll automate things. Manually, I'll not do anything. It will be all automated using ARM templates, Terraform, and things like that. And using that, will be doing things. So manually will not do.
Oh,
It will be all automated.
oh,
So it's better to go. Initially, when started, I did everything manual just to have a better understanding what exactly we are doing. Later, we'll do all automation. Okay.
okay, sure. Thanks.
Okay. Thank you very much, guys, and bye bye. Let's connect tomorrow and let's continue with this Git topic. Bye bye.